Okay, so welcome to a lovely sunny day here on the Isle of Raasay. It is absolutely gorgeous. For those of you who wonder how on earth do you cope in the long dark days of the winter up here in the north of Scotland, well, it's this kind of weather that you live for. Nobody around, you can enjoy it for yourself. We were out walking and there was dolphins out there in the bay. Absolutely incredible. But we can't be getting distracted because this is an incredibly busy month for us. So for context, right now, just up there in the woods, there is a digger breaking through the rocks to form the foundations for our house. It's been a long time coming. We have been saving and waiting and working, building a road and getting the site cleared, ready to be built. But the place that we currently live in Inverarish, just down the road basically, isn't going to be available to us by around the end of this month. So we need to find a place to live in the meantime. And what we've come up with is living here. So this is my grandfather's old house. My gran and Shenner built this house in the 1950s. It was actually a prefabricated kit house, very popular following the war, very revolutionary for its time. And you have to consider that when this house was built, most people in Raasay were living in either very old croft houses or in Inverarish, the main village, which were mainly two-room houses, not two-bedroom, but two-room houses with a little small porch kitchen and an outside toilet. Now, we don't really have the time or the capabilities to renovate this house. It would require a heck of a lot to bring it up to a kind of modern standard. But we want to make the place a little bit more livable in the interim for however long it takes for us to build our house up there in the woods. I'm literally just looking through my list of stuff here to do on this. So we've got two front rooms to do. We've got the living room, which needs the most amount of work. It needs a fresh coat of paint. The wallpaper's peeling, but I don't think we actually have time to take off all the wallpaper and replaster and repaint. So I actually think what we might do is put a sort of wood paneling around the bottom half of the walls. We'll have to maybe look at that later. That's the room we're going to tackle last, I think. The bedroom, we want to paint it. We want to put new flooring down in it. It's probably going to be the easiest of the two rooms to decorate. We need to tidy up the kitchen, although the kitchen's in pretty good nick, so we don't have to worry about that too much. And oh gosh, yeah, we need to find furniture because there's not really, all the furniture in here is quite old. We're going to get rid of most of it, so we need to find couches, chairs, tables, beds, bedside cabinets. Easier said than done, again, where you have to go off the island to find most of this stuff. And we have to do all of that while moving out of our old house, organising the build of the new house, and then obviously just doing my day-to-day job. So it's going to be fun. But the first thing that is required is to start clearing the house out. Can there truly be anything more Scottish than working on a wet and windy day with the Gaelic radio on, drinking mugs and mugs of tea from a mug that just has pictures of stacks of peat? So it doesn't get much better than that. Easy. Well, they're ready with you. Whoa. She's green. And the removal of Hamas from power. Tune on the loo, you're kind of So it is a beautiful Friday morning, Friday the 7th, so end of the first week of work, and I figured I'd give you a quick review of where we're at. Beautiful out there today, flat can. Be a very nice day to actually go swimming, but well, I don't have time. So I've got my flask of tea, the essentials for starting work. Here's the front of the house. This is where I took the quad to take all the bits of old carpet and the like out. I think I'll end up putting a bench or something here. We actually need to reconnect there was a light up here that needs to be reconnected. Maybe paint. You can see this little wood edging along here. It'd be quite nice to paint that as well too. This is also probably where the Starlink will go. I'll have to do a video on the Starlink. That's how we, this main internet that we use as well too. This is the front lawn. I actually need to, you can see this is a retaining wall. There's the main road. I am a bit worried that our dog, if she spots some sheep or something, she'll probably try and leap over that wall and escape, try and chase after them and herd them. So I'd like to put a gate here where I'm standing, and that can just stop her from wandering into the front garden without us seeing. You can see the old cattle grid here as well too. I need to put some little wooden slats over on each corner because the sheep can actually get up on either side as well too, which is a little bit of a problem because we'd like to do some gardening. Need to strip back these roddies, the bane of my existence. You can actually see how they're enroaching here. There's probably about 1.5 meters, 2 meters of lost driveway here because of those roddies. Anyway, we'll come round. Quad bike, there's the 2 sheds. That's where I keep my tractor. Up there is where the works are ongoing to get the foundations done. So here's the porch, a bit of a mess. Grandfather's toolbox here, Shinner's tools. It's a new toolbox, but it's all the original tools. No power tools in there. All of these cupboards have been cleared out, but we've still got a wee bit of tidying up to do in here. Oh, a lot of stuff just piled up, basically. Here is the kitchen, again, looking a little bit of a mess. Everything in here is all right, though. We need to, this stuff is stuff to be thrown away. Washing machine, dishwasher, we need to test that they work. It's just been, it's been about a year or so since we've had them on. And then you can see over here, that's the fridge as well. And behind that is the water connection. We turned the water back on in here. We're still on the private supply. I need to move, obviously, at some point over to the regular mains water supply. You can see, well, one thing, sorry, almost dropped the phone there. This here, a pulley. I don't know, if you're from America and you're watching this, I don't think you guys really dry clothes in any other way than using a dryer. A tumble dryer, as we would call it. But yeah, this is the traditional way of doing it. You've got your pulley, comes down, load up all your clothes, and then pull it up to the ceiling. These things are really, really handy, especially if you're drying a big sheet. You can just leave it there overnight, and it's nice and dry by the morning. And then through here, we get into the living room. This place is the thing that, again, that is in the most need of work. I've pulled up the floors. All that's left to remove is this couch. Need to get rid of that. We are, again, thinking of doing paneling along here. So panels that will come up to basically here. MDF, they will actually sit on top of the skirting. We're not taking the skirting off. I believe, I'm not 100%, but I believe that the skirting is sort of structural. It's part of the frame of the house. So rather than taking it off and dealing with that, we'll put the MDF panels up against the wall, sitting on top here. And then there'll be strips of MDF, uprights, and going lengthways that will create the kind of the boxy shape. And we'll do that all the way around so that we'll have then the bottom half nice and clean with the nice new flooring, and then the top half being the original wallpaper. That all looks good. An electric fireplace. This was turned into an electric fireplace 10 or so years ago. The original open fire is just behind it though. We'll probably put a stove in here. I actually have a stove sitting in the shed, brand new, so we need to just install that. But we're not doing that right now. We might do that as we get to winter time towards the end of this year. Then we have the hallway, porch out there. That's my grandmother's old electric mobility chair. It can move up and down, but I couldn't get it disconnected, so I just wedged it out of the way. And then if we go through here, here is the bedroom. You're probably going, God, that is green, huh? And it is. I've painted these two walls now. Here is our nice kind of terracotta brown porch. This looks gorgeous when the light comes in. I mean, look at the morning light. But when the evening light on the west sets and glows onto these walls, it looks absolutely beautiful. And then this is the darker bedroom. We want it to be nice and dark, nice and cozy. And what we'll probably have, or what we will have, is a blackout curtain that we can pull across here to separate the front and the front room and the bedroom area. This is coat 1. Probably will need 2 more coats. I'm hoping it doesn't need 4. This has already had 3 coats, so I think, so maybe the 4th coat will go on today. Some of the tape's already started to come down. But yeah, what I need to do is now tape this off, cover up the heater, and then get taping the rest of it. But yeah, that is where we are as of the end of the first week. Well, I must say I am pretty damn pleased with how this has all come together. I think it looks really nice. The skirting still looks a little bit messy. The problem is the fact that these walls, the wallpaper is so bubbly that it's really hard to mask properly. It was never going to be that precise anyway, but what I need to do is basically go along these skirting boards and scrape off the paint and touch up where it's missing. It looks all right up there on the ceiling if you don't look too closely. But the green looks gorgeous. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. It's really dark, really rich. It's amazing how much paint this took though. This is 4 coats on this wall, and there are still bits where you can see it's shining through slightly, the lighter colour underneath. And being this sort of old bubbly wallpaper, it just soaks up the paint like a sponge. Now in the little front porch bit, you can really see the contrast between the dark green and the brown. Again, I think this just looks absolutely beautiful. It's this sort of saddle leather brown. We're going to have a nice big curtain, like I say, that separates these 2 areas so that you can really black out this room, which is really nice. But this looks great. Remember, this was added on later, so the skirting and everything is different. It's natural wood, whereas the original 1950s skirting here is this kind of gloss white. So it's a little bit of an odd contrast. But I think it looks really nice. I think it works out perfectly for our purposes. It's not meant to be perfect, but I think in the evenings, this place is really going to shine, literally, because the golden hour light that pours through here just illuminates these walls. Now what we need to do, though, is flooring. So I've brought in some flooring from the caravan, an old static caravan that we were going to do up ages and ages ago. I've got a whole bunch of flooring that should do in here just fine, the underlay and the like. I don't know if you can see the original flooring in here. This was a very traditional way of presenting floors in old houses, where you would basically put a bit of carpet. I believe my dad actually said they used to have a slice of lino in here, a square of that in the middle of the room, like a rug or, again, a bit of lino, and then they would paint round the outside edge. So you would have this mix of the rug in the centre with the painted floorboards on the outside. You know, this does look very nice. Unfortunately, it's now covered in green paint. I think if you were going to really restore this house, you would sand it all back and you'd restore it. But I don't think, for our purposes, it's worth doing. That's why we thought we're just going to throw some flooring down, especially because you've got very standard chipboard or whatever here in the little extension bit. Oh, get off. Right. Contact.
Go to your bed.
Tail wag.
Go to your bed. No.
Okay, I think I have some spare flooring in our old static caravan, and that will hopefully be the flooring that we're going to use in the bedroom through there. So I'm going to go see if I can find it. Bingo. I feel like this is the start of a casualty episode or something from Final Destination. That'll be fine. Wow. They are clearly burning heather over there on that hill. Anyway, let's see if this see if I can make it down to the house without dying. Okay, I did this. I keep having this idea. Every day I come in here and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to work until midnight. But it gets so dark in here, and even with the big spotlights, it becomes a nightmare trying to work. So it's the morning again. I've put down the flooring on that side, put down the flooring on this side, but the depth of this wall and that wall are different. So I'm trying to kind of match up where the join's going to be so we can get one nice long straight coming all the way up here and all the way up there. It's been pretty easy so far. It's not been too bad. It can be very rough, this, because we're going to put a bead around the edge, and it doesn't. This is going to be the bedroom. There's going to be a gigantic bed in here. There's going to be all sorts of furniture and stuff. So it doesn't need to be perfect. That's what I keep telling myself. But what I need to try and do now is match up, like I say, this line here, so that when we put down this most important layer, the joining one for here, it all matches up quite nicely. So I'm gonna try that. You know, when you do laminate, they say, well, you're meant to leave like a 10mm expansion gap around the edge. You're meant to, measure out from the middle. Haven't done any of that. So it's a very improvised sort of day. I don't know if taping these seams up to hold it all together is the the professional way of doing things, but hey, seems to be working. I'll stick it there. There we go. Okay, final stretch. I've got this little corner to do. I've got the strip going up along the edge of the wall, and there's an awkward shape in the back there, which I had to remove the board because it didn't fit properly. So there's a few wee bits and pieces to figure out, but we're almost there with it. I'm going to do this bit because it's the easiest, and then I'll see about these last final strips. I would say the biggest surprise doing this flooring is, one, how relatively easy it has been, but the other thing is how amazing the weather's been. This is now about 2.5 weeks, roughly, of redecorating and doing this stuff around the house, and almost every single day has been bright blue skies and sunshine. It's been amazing. It's been cold, but I'll take sunshine and cold over wind and rain any day of the week. Right, so like I say, need to get this fixed, a few other wee bits and pieces, but yeah, we're almost there. Last bit, hopefully. Try not to look too closely at the messy borders around here, because of course it'll all be hidden away by a lovely bead, which will hide it up. Oh. I have done this so many bloody times where I've cut the wrong thing. You'd be cutting tongues, not grooves. That's so annoying, because that was so well cut. So bad. It'll do. Okay, this one I think I need to be a bit more precise on, because I need to sweep up to the edge of the door here, come down and along. I've saved, oh well, there's like 4 fresh sheets over here, and I've held some back so that I've got some good clean sheets rather than just using offcuts for down here. So, right, let's get measuring. Best thing, well, first thing I think I need to do is take this bash plate door jamb thing off. Okay, after a lot of, shall we say, gentle and calm finessing, I think this is like the third one of these that I have carved out and embarrassingly presented up to camera as if it was going to work and fit in perfectly. So let's say, what would this be? Fourth time's the charm. I wasted one brand new piece on this, which I'm really annoyed about, because I had designed it so that it would fit in here and then stretch all the way up, whereas this one's just been cut off. But I made this distance here, like, for whatever reason, about 20 mil too short, and it just didn't look right, and I was really annoyed, but I went back at it again. So I've wasted one piece. This, luckily, is an offcut, and it's actually broken here. The tongue is broken, which means that it should fit under here without having to pull all of this up and without having to remove the door, because I really don't want to remove the door. So hopefully this will fit in and lock somewhat in place, at least at one half, and fit around all the irregular little, of course, when my Shenner built this place, every joint and everything is slightly skewed, and nothing is truly square because it was all done by hand. So yeah, it takes a little bit of, like I say, finessing. Okay. I am really pleased with that. I did not think I'd be able to get this in one piece without having to remove the door. So, but moment of truth, if I close this, how big of a gap? Oh, look at that. Perfect. Shenner himself would be proud. Have a step, see what you think. Doesn't flex too much. If you ignore this bit, because the bead will hold that down. That's good. That's what you want. Well, I'll be honest, I'm a bit disappointed because I think generally speaking the place looks really pretty good. I'm very pleased, like I say, with this little bit under the door, bit under the heater, looks alright. This bit does not look so good. I tried like 4 or 5, there's another one over there that I tried, but beyond lifting this up or that up and start taking apart the whole thing, it's too off. This is squint, that's squint, this and this is squint. I just don't think it's gonna work. So look, rest of the thing looks nice. This one bit's off. I swear to God, if my dad comes in here and the first thing he walks over to is this, I'm gonna freaking lose it. But it is what it is. It's not meant to be perfect, but I think it matches very nicely with the colour of the walls. Although I do need to put some paint on the walls. You might be able to see there's some tiny little spots that have dented the walls, so I need to touch up the paint. But bedroom is almost officially ready. I'm going to try and glue this for one. And what we'll do is we'll put some wood fill in there, tidy it up. It's good enough.